Mistakes. What are exactly mistakes? Mistakes are an error in action, calculation, caused by poor reasoning, carelessness, insufficient knowledge, etc. Everyone makes mistakes, like a baby knocking off a cup from the table, or a person mistyping a word, like I did just now, or not crossing the street without looking both sides. But people are really afraid of making mistakes. Of course, people would be afraid if making a mistake could cost them their lives. But most of the time, this isn't really the case. When I was younger, I used to be scared of making mistakes, I was afraid that if I made a single mistake, I would get shouted at by either my teachers or my parents. I had the mindset that if I made mistakes, I wouldn't be loved anymore. Another reason why I was scared to make mistakes was because I would be humiliated. That people would just laugh at me, It got me to the point where I didn't want to try anything new. I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to become a failure. So what was the plan? Just don't do anything. But I realized much later that that isn't really the case. So people are just afraid of making mistakes, normally for the reasons I just mentioned. They are either afraid of destroying progress they were making, or losing like oral points. Damn, this generation is doomed. This probably stemmed from school, when making mistakes in an exam, for example, will cause you to lose a letter grade, or you to get a bad report card, and you have to show that mark or that report card to your parents, which creates disappointment, creating that fear inside of you. What schools fail to teach kids is that making mistakes isn't the end of the world, and that you are not a failure if you do make mistakes. It's just numbers and numbers for them, But for you, instead of thinking that mistakes is a way to show that you're a failure, think of it as a negative feedback loop for yourself. Don't worry, I'll explain it later. But maybe you're just ashamed of all the mistakes you have made in the past, like I do sometimes. Like saying some stupid things to a girl I liked, or just being weird in general. But maybe this quote I found might help you. I did get this from a Hope Core Instagram page. I know, kinda weird, but I'm also addicted to it. If you went back in time and fixed all your mistakes, you will just end up erasing yourself. Okay, so this is my interpretation of it, and if you don't exactly agree with it, make sure to let me know in the comments below. You as a person is formed by positive and negative feedback loops. You see? I came back to it. Let me quickly explain what feedback loops are and the types of it. It's kinda like a system, which has inputs and outputs. The feedback from the output will be fed back into the input. We have positive feedback loops. When we get a positive result, we would just learn from it and can continue the actions which gave the result. Then we have negative feedback loops, where the effect causes counteracting changes to the system. If we get a negative result, we would learn from it and change our actions accordingly. These are how our actions are now determined. If we take one of those mechanisms away, like erasing your mistakes, you would be a different person entirely, which isn't really a good thing. These mistakes are what makes you human. We were designed to make mistakes so we can become better. How do you think we as humans developed over the years? Living longer, making all these developments, these were all achieved because we made mistakes and we learned from it. We're not gods, but just merely humans. But hey, these are just my thoughts. This is just MushaMind.